My fondness for Crown Prince Yang Huai is known throughout the entire Great Yang. On the day Yang Huai brought a dying beggar to me, he looked at me gently and said, "RCI, this is my second brother. Father has been searching for him for 10 years. Please help me." Just as I was about to torment Yang Qi, lines of text suddenly appeared before my eyes. "Here she comes. The foolish female supporting character is about to throw herself into the fire again. She was completely deceived by the Crown Prince. He's long been involved with her half-sister. This supporting female character is even more tragic than a cannon fodder. The first thing the Crown Prince did after ascending the throne was to massacre her entire family. Massacre, half-sister." Each word before my eyes burned like a red-hot iron brand, making my very soul tremble. Don't look at Yang Qi's miserable state now. In the future, he will become the strongest antagonist, effortlessly killing everyone in the book. If it weren't for the female supporting character threatening him with suicide, the male lead would have had an 80% chance of not becoming emperor. But the female supporting character is even more miserable. Her entire family died, and she was tied up by the Yanda Yang Qi, forced to do it every day out of hatred. Breaking from my usual behavior, I suddenly hugged the grimy man in front of me and sweetly called out, "Brother Qi." At that moment, the gloomy eyes of the young man lit up. "Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day." Now, the story begins. I grew up with Crown Prince Yang Huai since childhood. I am the legitimate daughter of the Prime Minister, and he is the favored son of heaven. Everyone in the capital says we are a match made in heaven. He possesses a handsome appearance, elegant as an orchid in jade, beautiful as a crown of jade. I was captivated by that handsome face. A young girl's love is fervent and bold. In just a few years, there was no one in the entire capital who didn't know about it. Even the emperor and empress tacitly approved of this marriage, until that day, when I stood outside his window and heard the guard ask him, "Your Highness, since you have feelings for Miss Shun, why not visit her family to propose marriage?" My heart leaped with joy. It turned out that Crown Prince brother also had feelings for me. I only heard Yang Huai say calmly, "Qingya is different from others. She is pure and kind-hearted, and all these years she has strictly followed the rules, afraid to take even one wrong step. A woman's reputation is of utmost importance. If I rashly propose marriage, I might frighten her and invite public criticism. Besides, the empress would never allow me to marry a concubine-born daughter as the crown princess." The guard was also surprised. "You want to marry her as your principal consort? What about Miss Shun? She is the legitimate daughter of the Prime Minister, and everyone in the capital knows she adores you." "Her," Yang Huai sneered disdainfully. "That woman is too cunning. She is merely a convenient tool on my path to the throne." I stood frozen in place, my heart feeling as if it had plunged into an icy abyss. I didn't even notice when the sachet fell from my hand. No wonder these past few years. Despite my obvious efforts to please him, making it known to everyone every time the topic of marriage was brought up, he would only brush it off. I thought he was naturally indifferent and kept his distance from women, but he was so considerate towards Qingya. He cared about her reputation, even being cautious when interacting with her. And what about me? When he dealt with me insincerely, did he ever think about my reputation? Over the years, I helped him manage the water transport, win over court officials, eliminate rivals, and secure his position as the crown prince. In the end, all I got in return was the remark, "Too scheming." I sneered coldly. It seemed he wasn't heartless after all. It was just that the one who had truly captured his heart wasn't me. From that day on, I became sick. Yang Huai sent people to visit me several times, but I fended them off with various excuses. I no longer went to the Eastern Palace to see him every day. Nor did I concern myself with his daily needs. I no longer whispered in my father's ear, openly or covertly suppressing those he disliked. Yang Huai didn't seem to mind. He still sent Shadow 7 to the Prime Minister's residence every day. Visiting me was just a pretense. His real purpose was to secretly meet with Qingya. Every time Ying Qi left, it wouldn't be long before Qingya would go out in a soft sedan chair. Qingya loved flowers. Every time Ying Qi came, a new exotic plant would appear in her courtyard. As a daughter of a concubine, the flowers in her yard were almost as splendid as those in the palace. Shenqingya had a sweet tooth. Every day, she would receive sugar-steamed cheese curds made by the imperial kitchen, carefully delivered to her by Yingqi in a warm box. It turns out that with just a little attention, I could have discovered the close connection between them long ago. I laughed at myself mockingly. In truth, as long as I didn't compare myself to Shenqingya, I'd think Yang Huai treated me quite well. He also remembered what I liked to eat. Every time I went to the Eastern Palace, the chef would prepare all my favorite dishes. Ever since we were young, whenever I got into fights with other noble children at gatherings and lost, he would always step in to back me up. ACI is under my protection. None of you are allowed to bully her. Then he would ruffle my hair and say with a smile, "Little ACI, you're such a troublemaker. What would you do if your crown prince brother wasn't here?" Actually, with my current personality, I wouldn't let myself be wronged anymore, but I would deliberately lose various competitions, pretending to be very wronged, and gradually everyone said I was a useless person with only good looks, because I really enjoyed the favor my crown prince brother showed me after I occasionally showed weakness. But after Shenqingya appeared, my crown prince brother never looked at me again. Shenqingya would never intentionally lose a competition. She always put her all into showcasing her talents, which earned her the title of the top talented lady in the capital. When faced with the crown prince's advances, she seemed to keep her distance. Yet she always managed to coincidentally run into him without leaving a trace. The crown prince believed that as the legitimate daughter of the prime minister, I was born with everything. While Shenqingya came from a humble background and was pure and kind-hearted, so she needed more careful protection than I did, he accepted my efforts as naturally as the changing of seasons and the cycle of the sun and moon, calm and unquestioned. But Shenqingya was different. She was like an orchid growing from a crevice in the stone, evoking a sense of pity from the depths of his heart. Shenqingya entered my room carrying tea and sighed before even speaking. "Sister, have you been too cold to His Highness the Crown Prince lately?" I looked up but didn't respond. It seemed Yang Huai had another use for me. "His blade," she continued. "His Highness is busy with state affairs day and night, so it's inevitable that he might neglect you at times. You should be more understanding of His Highness and take the initiative. Don't let others take advantage because of a moment of pride." I put down the pen in my hand and smiled slightly. "How come I never noticed before that you're so concerned about the matters between me and the Crown Prince?" She looked a bit flustered. "I'm only thinking of the family. If you were to become the Empress, it would naturally be good for the Prime Minister's residence. What happens between the Crown Prince and me is none of your concern." Shenqingya's face stiffened. She twisted her handkerchief, on the verge of tears, and then suddenly knelt down with a thud, holding her handkerchief. She sobbed, "Why must you mock me? Sister, it was wrong of me to meddle. I apologize to you." Just then, father and mother walked in. "What's going on? Why all this crying?" Her sudden kneeling and crying for no reason made it seem like I, as the legitimate elder sister, had been mistreating her. Father frowned slightly and said, "Qingzi, you tell us what happened. What are you doing?" "Sister, we were just talking normally. Why did you suddenly start crying?" "Father will think I'm usually harsh on you," I said calmly, stepping forward to help Shenqingya up. "Father, mother, you may not know this, but my sister was urging me to get closer to the Crown Prince, yet the whole capital knows that I have sincere feelings for His Highness, but he has been slow to come and propose." I imitated Shenqingya's manner, wiping my tears with a handkerchief. "I'm afraid I'm just wishfully thinking, and if this continues, it won't be good for our Prime Minister's residence's reputation. I might as well give up this thought to avoid tarnishing the reputation of the sisters in our family." How much I liked the Crown Prince was something my father and mother had always known. Now, seeing me willingly give up, they felt as though I had suffered an immense injustice. My mother, heartbroken, pulled me into her arms and said, "My dear Aki, don't cry anymore. There are so many noble young men in the capital, you'll surely find one you like." My father spoke up. "All right, this is just a small matter. Why make such a fuss? Aki has been wronged. But what's the use of you crying and carrying on? You need to act more maturely from now on." Shenqingya gritted her teeth and agreed. Her hands clenched into fists, her eyes lowered so that no one could see her expression. Just then, a servant announced from outside the door that the Crown Prince had arrived. "A CI, Quickly tidy up and go see His Highness the Crown Prince. Mother, he might not necessarily be here for me. After saying this, I glanced at Shen Qingya as if unintentionally. Shen Qingya avoided my gaze, her eyes darting away. Mother laughed and said, "What are you talking about? If he's not here for you, then who could he be here for? Could it be for me or the Prime Minister?" I put on a shy expression, but inwardly sneered at the Crown Prince. Truly, he only seeks me out when he needs something, just like how Zhong Wuyen was only valued for her abilities while Xie Yingchun was favored for her beauty. The Crown Prince saw me and strode forward with a concerned expression. "ACI, are you feeling better now?" I gave a slight bow. "Thank you for your concern, Brother Crown Prince. I'm much better now. Why do I feel that you've become more distant from me?" I looked up and smiled faintly. "Brother Crown Prince, you're overthinking it." The Crown Prince took out a sachet. Shadow 7 found this outside my study. "Did ACI drop it? Is it for me?" Just as he was about to tuck it into his sleeve, I snatched it away. "No, by the way, Brother Crown Prince, may I ask why you summoned me today?" I quickly changed the subject, not giving him a chance to dwell on it. The Crown Prince waved his hand. "Shadow 7, bring the person in." After a while, Shadow 7 brought over a boy who looked like a beggar. The boy was covered in blood and was on the verge of death. "Is this the Crown Prince's political enemy? But he looks so young. How could there be such a young official in the court?" Over the years, I have done many dirty deeds for the Crown Prince. With just one word from him, I would go through fire and water for him. "This is my second brother." The Crown Prince spoke coldly, and I shuddered all over. This was the second prince whom the emperor had been searching for over a decade. It was said that his birth mother, Consort Shu, was not only the emperor's first love but also his original wife from before he ascended the throne. Their love was so profound that it became a legend. The emperor ascended the throne with the help of the Crown Prince's maternal family. In accordance with his promise to General Zhong, he made the general's daughter the empress, while his original wife was granted the title of Consort Shu. Later, it was said that Consort Shu fell victim to a conspiracy and fled into the common world with the second prince, their whereabouts unknown. "Aki, I can't bring myself to do it. You'll help me, just like before, right? How come I never noticed Yang Huai was so pretentious before?" Looking at the second prince, all bloody like a plucked rooster, and he calls that unable to bring himself to do it. He's just worried that if things go south later, he won't have an excuse to pin it on the Prime Minister's residence. Once I take on this hot potato, whether my father wants to get involved in the power struggle or not, the Prime Minister's residence and the Eastern Palace will be tied together like grasshoppers on a string, just like always. I put on a sweet smile and said, "Of course, Brother Crown Prince, leave it to me." I locked Yang Qi in my room. He stared at me with a gloomy look in his eyes. His face so dirty you could hardly make out his features. His chapped lips parted slightly. "It's you." I held the dagger in my hand, lifting Yang Qi's chin. "You know me." Suddenly, a line of text appeared before my eyes. "Here we go. The foolish female supporting character is about to deliver herself to her doom. She still doesn't know that her Crown Prince brother has long been involved with her half-sister. The female lead is the Crown Prince's true love. This supporting female character is even more tragic than a cannon fodder. The first thing the Crown Prince does after ascending the throne is slaughter her entire family." My hand trembled, and the dagger fell to the ground. Slaughtering the entire family. Each word felt like a red-hot branding iron, searing my soul with tremors. These words are a prophecy. I have already confirmed the relationship between Shen Qingya and the Crown Prince. So the entire family will be executed. I shuddered all over. All these years, I cleared his political enemies and eliminated dissidents for him, and in return, I get the entire family executed. Then what have all these years meant to me? A complete and utter joke. Yang Huai, you are truly ruthless. I looked thoughtfully at the man before me. I never intended to kill him in the first place, and since he would become so formidable in the future, I had even more reason to leave myself a way out. I ordered someone to wash his face, dress him in proper clothes, and summoned the court physician to treat his injuries. What's going on with the female supporting character? Why isn't she abusing Yang Qi anymore? Wait, this isn't the plot I remember. No, I want to see the male supporting character tie up the female supporting character out of hatred. The female supporting character has finally come to her senses. Her eyes can finally see her dear husband. Rescue husband mode activated. Looking at the text before me, my cheeks flushed slightly. This prophecy. I stood by the bed, carefully studying his face. He was actually more handsome than Yang Huai, though his features were a bit gaunt. After all, his birth mother was a beauty renowned throughout the land. Looking at his face, one could faintly imagine the unparalleled charm that Consort Shu once possessed in the capital. I was admiring his beauty, marveling at how long his eyelashes were. When the young man suddenly opened his eyes, after seeing my face clearly, his expression turned complex. "Why did you save me?" I didn't answer his question, instead asking with concern, "How are you feeling? Is there anywhere you're still uncomfortable?" The young man looked at me coldly, his voice low. "You're one of the Crown Prince's people. Why did you save me? What are you scheming?" I pinched my own thigh, letting a hint of mist gather in my eyes as I put on a pitiful expression. "Brother Qi, how could you think of me that way? You are the second prince. Of course ACI had to save you. How would ACI dare to have any designs on you?" Yang Qi sneered. "Why pretend? Do you think I don't know about all the dirty deeds you've done for Yang Huai?" A strange glint flashed in my eyes. Hadn't Yang Qi been living among the commoners all this time? How did he recognize me and know that I was on the Crown Prince's side? This is bad. How am I supposed to change his impression of me now? LOL. Does the female supporting character really think the male supporting character is a beggar? This guy is full of tricks. Back then, when he knew his mother was about to be taken down by the Empress, he deliberately used the excuse of praying at a temple to help her escape from the palace. Over the years, he has secretly recruited soldiers and built up his own power. Just waiting for the emperor to kick the bucket so he can stage a rebellion. The emperor is such a fool. All his sons are eagerly waiting for him to die, yet is still fixated on finding Yang Qi and putting him on the throne. Yang Qi wants to rebel. I can help him. Wait, if the emperor favors Yang Qi, why would he go through all the trouble of rebelling? Wouldn't it be easier to just inherit the throne smoothly? Yang Qi holds a grudge against the emperor, believing that the emperor failed to protect Consort Shu. On top of that, the empress and the crown prince have been stirring up trouble, driving a wedge between father and son over time. So that's how it is. I immediately grabbed Yang Qi's hand and said in a sweet, coquettish voice, "Brother Qi, believe me, I'm really not on the Crown Prince's side. Otherwise, why would I go to such great lengths to save you?" Yang Qi's cheeks flushed crimson, as if scalded, and she immediately withdrew her hand. Clearing her throat lightly, her voice came out hoarse as she said, "Stay away from me. If you have something to say, just say it. No need for physical contact. I believe you." Alright, am I seeing things? Yang Qi is actually blushing. The female supporting character is so fake, I can't stand it. But it seems like Yang Qi is totally buying her act. What's up with the female supporting character? What kind of scheme is she plotting now? Damn, it's gotta be the female supporting character. Just a touch of the hand and Yang Qi's having a brain orgasm. "Brother Qi, I have an idea. Would you like to hear it?" To dispel Yang Qi's suspicions, I naturally had to offer all my sincerity. "Speak." The young man had resumed his icy, frosty expression. "You should know that in the current Great Yang Court, the majority of court officials support the Crown Prince." Yang Qi sneered coldly. "Isn't that all thanks to your efforts?" I pretended not to hear and continued. "That's because my father is the head of the civil officials and the representative of the upright faction. Although he remains neutral, due to my relationship with you, everyone tacitly assumes the Prime Minister's residence supports the Crown Prince. If we get engaged, we can break this deadlock. At the same time, I will persuade my father to support you as the new emperor. You can achieve your goal without mobilizing a single soldier. What do you think?" Holy crap. The female supporting character has gone crazy. Why is she suddenly siding with the male supporting character now? No way. Is my tragic storyline turning into a sweet romance? She's the Crown Prince's lapdog and has tormented Yang Qi plenty. Just wait, there's bound to be a twist. Yang Qi narrowed his eyes and leaned closer, adopting the posture of an animal sensing danger. I instinctively stepped back, his phoenix eyes tilted slightly upward, a shape that should suggest charm and affection. but their deep hue made them seem like distant stars when he looked at someone. Yang Qi pinched my chin and sneered, "Miss Shen, trying out new tricks now. Yang Qi is so handsome. That look is killing me." I knew Yang Qi wouldn't believe it. How could such an obsessive madman be so easy to win over, right? He's just lusting after Shen Qingxi's body. Honestly, the female supporting character's figure is truly top tier. If it were me, I'd lust after her too. I took a deep breath. What kind of outrageous words were these? I pinched my thigh hard again, my eyes welling up with tears as I looked at him pitifully. "Brother Qi," my voice trembled, the rest of my words stuck in my throat. He stared at me, the mockery in his eyes replaced by a hint of curiosity, and the grip on my chin loosened. "I promise you." Countless question marks floated across the bullet comments. "What the hell, Yang Qi, you love-struck fool, not even pretending anymore. Can't you have a little principle?" "Yang Qi, didn't your mother tell you that the more beautiful a woman is, the better she is at lying?" I was about to ask too. You agreed so easily. I was prepared to appeal to your emotions and reason, even resort to tears, tantrums, and threats. "What do you want?" "I have 3 conditions." Yang Qi laughed. "So many. I knew you were up to no good." Oh my God, the male supporting character's smile is so handsome. Am I seeing this right? Wasn't this supposed to be an angst-filled story? This is clearly a sweet romance novel. I can't take it anymore. The male lead is so doting. I cleared my throat and declared loudly, "First, after you ascend the throne, you shall make me your empress. Second, bestow upon the Shen family 5 golden pardons. As long as the Shen family does not violate the laws of the state, you must protect them." Yang Qi laughed again. 5. Do you think immunity tokens grow on trees? 5 is still not enough for me. With over 100 people in our family, I've already been very considerate of him. Third, you are not allowed to take concubines. If you ever find someone you truly love in the future, you must release me from the palace. Finished. Is that all? That's all, I promise you. He looked at me deeply, as if he wanted to tear me apart and devour me. Your Honor, I can testify that the male supporting character only has you in his heart. Before, there were women who tried to climb into his bed, and he made them suffer terribly. Just go ahead and spoil her. From that day on, Yang Qi stayed at my residence. His injuries had long healed, but he kept lingering and refused to leave, saying he wanted to test my loyalty. I turned my head and saw Yang Qi leaning against the railing, lazily watching me. He was exceptionally handsome. Unlike Yang Huai's gentle and refined demeanor, he was more like a newly forged sword in the biting chill of early spring, gleaming with a cold light yet brimming with vibrant vitality. "Brother Qi, when did you get here?" The young man curled his lips slightly, his eyes teasing. "I've stumbled upon quite a show. Would you like to see it?" The courtyard just a street away from the Prime Minister's residence was the secret meeting place for Yang Huai and Shen Qingya. When Yang Qi and I arrived, passionate gasps of a man and a woman could be heard from the room. "Huaiya, my sweet Huaiya, my good Huaiya, Your Highness, are you really going to marry my sister? For that position, I can only marry her. But my heart will always belong to you, my dear Ye. Give me some time, you will be my one and only empress, Your Highness." I beg Your Highness to be gentle with Ye. My mind went blank, and I stood frozen in place as tears streamed down my face. How could they be so shameless? Even now, they still put on an act in front of me every day. What a magnificent performance they've been putting on. Suddenly, a pair of warm hands covered my ears from behind. Yang Qi took my hand. "I'll take you away." Back at the Prime Minister's residence, Yang Qi looked at me at a loss. "You're crying." I turned my head away. "Just got some sand in my eyes. Troublesome. I only wanted to make you give up. Had I known, I wouldn't have taken you there." He muttered under his breath, "I've known for a long time." "Oh, is that why you're cooperating with me? You discovered the Crown Prince has changed his heart, so you want to switch sides and join me?" I hung my head, not daring to look up. I didn't want to deceive him, nor did I want to make excuses for myself. Yang Qi lifted my chin, forcing me to look at him. "Since you've boarded my pirate ship, clear all irrelevant people from your heart. Shen Qingxi, you can deceive me." He paused, his gaze sharp as a blade, yet carrying a hint of bewitching warmth. "But remember, you have to deceive me for a lifetime." I held his face, stared into his eyes, and said word by word, "Brother Chi, I'm not deceiving you, I'll seriously try to only look at you, will you wait for me?" The face-cupping move. Who can resist this? Directness conquers thunder. Yang Chi got flirted back at again. "Why are you taking screenshots? Just stare." Yang Chi's ears are completely red. Yang Chi let out a cold snort, but his voice carried a barely noticeable hoarseness. "Who said I'd wait for you?" Yang Chi finished speaking and left. I don't know if it was my imagination, but his retreating figure actually gave off a sense of fleeing in panic. Translation: I'll wait for you my whole life. Oh my god, Yang Chi is so adorable. His body is 100 times more honest than his mouth. Shen Qingxi, come to the lotus pond at Shuao tonight. Yang Chi's voice came from afar. In the evening, as soon as I reached the center of the lake pavilion, I heard someone calling my name from behind, Shen Qingxi. I turned around and saw Yang Chi holding a bag in his hand. He opened it, and countless fireflies flew out from his grasp, gathering into a soft, flowing cluster of starlight. With a smile, he strode briskly toward me. The young man's eyes were smiling, and with each step he took, it felt as though he was stepping directly on my heart. He was half a head taller than me, his figure almost enveloping me. "Well, do you like it? I spent several nights catching it. I never imagined someone would go to such lengths for me. No schemes, no ulterior motives, just an almost clumsy sincerity. Why are you crying again?" His hand, reaching out to wipe my tears, paused midway and withdrew. His flustered expression made me laugh again, crying one moment and laughing the next. What a handful. "If you marry me someday, will I have to comfort you every day?" His tone carried a helpless indulgence. My heart felt as if it had been struck by something not painful, but waves of tender soreness washed over me. "Who said I'd marry you?" I quickly stepped on his foot, then turned and ran away. The pure love warrior has fallen. Don't run. Supporting female character. Look back, that guy is standing there watching you with a silly grin. I bet 50 cents, Yang Chi will go back and grin like an idiot at the wall for half an hour. At the Mid-Autumn Palace banquet, Yang Chi disguised himself as a guard and followed me into the palace. Shen Qingya, known as the top talented lady of the capital, was personally selected by the Empress to perform the opening act. As her piece concluded, she received a round of applause from the entire hall, and the Crown Prince made no effort to hide his admiration. Yang Chi, wearing a mask, muttered quietly behind me, "Utterly vulgar." Shen Qingya was quite pleased with herself. Gracefully stepping to the center to express her gratitude, "Your Majesty, I was merely offering a modest spur to induce others to come forward with valuable contributions. My elder sister has studied under a renowned performer since childhood and must possess extraordinary skills. Why not take advantage of this festive occasion to let us all feast our eyes?" Her words, though seemingly complimentary, carried a hidden sting. Who didn't know of my past reputation as a good-for-nothing? By mentioning that I had studied under a famous performer, she made it all the more apparent that I was as foolish as a pig, incapable of learning no matter how I was taught. She wanted to publicly humiliate me, using my incompetence to highlight her own talent and further endear herself to the Crown Prince. My father and mother wore worried expressions, while the Crown Prince watched coldly from the sidelines, waiting to see me make a fool of myself. I slowly rose and bowed to His Majesty and the Empress. My humble skills on the qin are crude and unrefined, and I fear they may offend Your Majesty's ears. However, since my younger sister insists so earnestly, I shall reluctantly display my incompetence. I walked to the Jiuxiao Huanpei qin and, under the mocking or sympathetic gazes of the crowd, closed my eyes to clear my mind of distractions. I calmly finished playing the piece, and the entire hall fell into a profound silence, which was soon followed by sincere and heartfelt praise. His Majesty also clapped his hands in admiration, exclaiming, "Excellent, such music should only exist in heaven. Minister Shen, you have raised a remarkable daughter. A reward is in order." Shen Qingya's face turned deathly pale, staring at me in disbelief. The musical talent she had prided herself on all her life had been utterly defeated in front of me. When did you learn to play the qin?" The Crown Prince looked astonished, his gaze toward me even carrying a hint of infatuation. I smiled sweetly. "Crown Prince brother, there are many things I know how to do." Just then, The emperor suddenly spoke. Today is the Mid-Autumn Festival. I have an announcement to make. Yang Qi, come to my side. The entire hall fell into an instant silence. Everyone present knew that Yang Qi was the second prince whom His Majesty had been searching for over a decade, yet no one expected His Majesty to mention him so abruptly today. Yang Qi calmly walked from behind me to stand before the emperor. Though dressed in simple black casual attire, he could not conceal his innate nobility, so he had already been in contact with the emperor. Fortunately, I did not lay a hand on him that day. Thinking back on it now, I still feel a lingering fear. It might have been a trap set by the emperor and Yang Qi together. One misstep, and the entire prime minister's residence would have been destroyed because of me. His Majesty spoke. Remove the mask. Yang Qi slowly removed the mask, revealing his handsome face. The noble ladies of the imperial clan present also gasped in admiration. Unable to help themselves, Yang Qi's beauty was simply too striking. As he clearly saw this face, the crown prince's gaze sharpened like a blade, fixed directly on me. His expression was as dark as water, and the wine glass in his hand was almost crushed. If looks could kill, I would have been minced to pieces by now. The emperor was very pleased. You resemble your mother greatly. All these years, you have suffered hardships. It is my fault. Second Prince Yang Qi stepped forward to receive the decree. After Yang Qi performed the ceremonial bow, the emperor spoke in a solemn and measured tone. You are of my bloodline, though you have wandered far from home. Your character remains resolute and unwavering, never losing the dignity of the royal family. In accordance with ancestral customs and in response to public sentiment, I hereby bestow upon the second Prince Yang Qi the title of Prince of Yang. To grant him the title of Yang, the very name of the kingdom, it was clear how much the emperor favored Yang Qi. The crown prince suddenly stood up and declared loudly, Father, I and Shen Qingxi, the legitimate daughter of the prime minister, grew up together and share a deep bond. I humbly request your majesty to grant us marriage. His burning gaze fell upon me, filled with unwavering confidence. Everyone believed this was a matter of course, and I should be grateful, including the emperor and the empress. Yang Qi sternly said, No. All eyes turned to him. I took a deep breath, stepped forward, knelt down on one knee before the emperor, and said, Your Majesty, I am deeply grateful for the crown prince's affection. However, my heart already belongs to another. I dare not deceive your majesty, nor do I wish to mislead His Highness. The entire hall erupted in an uproar. The crown prince's face instantly darkened. Shen Qingxi, what nonsense are you talking about? Everyone in the capital knows that you have feelings for me. Now that I have granted your wish and asked His Majesty for this marriage, I have given you all the respect you deserve. What more do you want? I lifted my head, my gaze passing over him to land on Yang Qi behind him. But the one I admire is the second prince. The crown prince laughed in anger. How is that possible? Shen Qingxi, don't be absurd. Second brother only returned to the palace today. When did you come to admire him? Do you realize this is deceiving the emperor? I smiled gently at Yang Qi. The second prince is exceptionally handsome. I fell in love at first sight and my heart yearns for him. Oh, Yang Qi, did you hear that? She confessed to you in public. Famous scene check-in. Yang Qi is completely at her mercy. His Majesty looked at me, then thought of Yang Qi's reaction just now, his eyes full of amusement. Good, Yang Qi, what do you think? Yang Qi walked to my side and knelt down with me. Your Majesty, when I was living among the common people in my early years, I was once saved by Miss Shen. From that moment on, I have admired her. I turned my head to look at him, thinking he's making up stories again without even rehearsing with me first. He wasn't making it up. You really saved him. When you were a child praying at the temple, you saved a child who was bitten by a snake. That was him. He's had his eye on you for a long time. In his past life, his unrequited love drove him mad, but in this life, it's so sweet and wonderful. I stared blankly at Yang Qi. It was just a small act of kindness on my part, yet he had remembered it for so long. Because there are so few people who treat him well, so he remembers every little bit of kindness. Woo-woo, our little bitter-gourd Yang Qi finally gets sweet love this time. His Majesty was overjoyed and waved his hand grandly. Then isn't this a match made in heaven? I shall take charge today and bestow this marriage upon you two. With an imperial decree, The matter was settled. The crown prince's lips, which had been maintaining a gentle smile, tightened slightly, and his knuckles turned white from the force of his grip. The emperor looked at the livid-faced crown prince and comforted him, saying, "Crown prince, in the past, Miss Shun was inseparable from you, even I knew about it. Why did you delay in requesting an imperial decree for marriage? Now that she has already set her heart on someone else, it seems your fate with Miss Shun was just not deep enough. Your second brother has been wandering outside for many years and has suffered a great deal. Why not let this beautiful union come to fruition?" The crown prince once again put on his usual gentle and amiable demeanor, smiling as he replied, "I will follow your majesty's wishes. Of course, I would not contend with second brother. After tonight, Yang Qi's fate and mine would be completely intertwined. In previous years, the Eastern Palace would host a chrysanthemum viewing banquet during this season. Only officials of the third rank and above in the court, along with their families, would receive invitations. In the past, I always went with my father and mother, but this year, Shen Qingya also received one. Shen Qingya was wearing a deep crimson gold-embroidered long dress, with a set of gold and kingfisher feather hair accessories adorning her head. Anyone could guess with their toes that these were gifts from the crown prince. Seeing that I was engaged to Yang Qi, she was now determined to secure the position of crown princess. Not even bothering to pretend anymore, she gracefully walked up to me and said, "Sister, your outfit today is a bit too plain. Those who know might say you're the future princess of Yang. But those who don't might mistake you for someone from a humble, insignificant family. How dare you?" Father and mother came out and scolded. "Is this how you speak to your elder sister?" Shen Qingya, unlike her usual timid self, said, "Father, this dress was a gift from the crown prince. She is already engaged to the Prince of Yang and has no chance of becoming the empress. You should see clearly which daughter is truly useful to you." With a sharp smack, father slapped Shen Qingya across the face. "Who told you that the daughters of my prime minister's household are meant to climb the social ladder?"
Prince approached, pushed the door open, and entered, in no time at all. The sounds of heavy breathing from a man and a woman could be heard from the room. RCI, I've finally got you. You're mine. You can only be mine." Yang Qi clenched his fists, and a chilling aura radiated from him. I held his hand and whispered softly in his ear, "I am yours, brother Qi." Yang Qi's body stiffened, and the chill instantly vanished. He gently squeezed my hand in return, a ripple of a smile forming at the corner of his mouth. By the way, did he not realize that the person in the room wasn't me? I had someone place an aphrodisiac incense in the room. Even if there was a man in the bed, he wouldn't be able to tell. Oh no, the crown prince and the eldest young lady. Just then, Shen Qingya's personal maid arrived with a large crowd, hesitating to speak further, which sparked wild imaginations. Everyone present today was a person of status, and witnessing such a vulgar affair, they all regarded it with disdain. And to think she's the eldest young lady of the Prime Minister's residence, she has completely shamed her ancestors, always putting on such an aloof and proud front in public, yet so desperate behind the scenes. I heard that Miss Shen has always been shamelessly fawning over the crown prince. I was wondering why she suddenly took a liking to Prince Yang. Turns out she enjoys the thrill. Utterly disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. How could such a shameless woman be worthy of marrying into the royal family? I shall petition His Majesty to annul her engagement to Prince Yang. Who are you all talking about? Minister Wang wants to annul my engagement. Yang Qi's gloomy voice sounded from behind the crowd. Everyone was startled, turning to look at Yang Qi, and then at me standing beside him, utterly confused. If the Princess of Yang was here, then who was the person in the room? The maid was shocked to see me, pointing at me incoherently. "You, weren't you with the crown prince?" My father seemed to have pieced together the whole story. He stepped forward and slapped the maid so hard her face swelled up. "You insolent wretch! How dare you slander the reputation of the Prime Minister's eldest daughter? Guards, drag her out and beat her to death." My father slammed the door open, and everyone crowded at the entrance. The figures on the bed inside were still entangled. Shen Qingya had long been awake, given the circumstances. In order to secure the position of the crown princess, she had no choice but to continue playing along. When she noticed the commotion outside the room and the startled cries of the crowd, she managed to pull the crown prince back to his senses. The crown prince was momentarily stunned. "Qingya, how could it be you?" As the bed curtains were fully drawn aside, everyone caught sight of the two disheveled and panicked figures on the bed. plunging the entire room into an eerie silence. Then, an even greater uproar erupted, far more intense than before. "Wow, what a huge bed." Groundhog scream. "The Crown Prince doesn't eat very well, but our Yenchi eats much better. This is the second young lady of the Prime Minister's residence." "Oh, I was just saying, how could the esteemed Miss Shen, with all her grace, possibly do something so vulgar?" "So it was you, second Miss." Yang Huai shot a glare at the person, who quickly changed their tone. "You and the Crown Prince simply couldn't resist each other, it seems." The Crown Prince turned to the crowd outside the room. "Get out, all of you. Get out now." Several ministers were still whispering among themselves. "Such a disgrace to propriety. Truly a disgrace to propriety." Yang Qi spoke calmly, his tone carrying an undeniable authority. "Minister Wang, it's time to submit your memorial." Lord Wang wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Your Highness, the Prince of Yang, is absolutely right. This is a matter of great importance, and I will report it truthfully to His Majesty." The Crown Prince looked at Yang Qi and me standing calmly nearby, his eyes filled with bone-chilling coldness. Upon learning of this, the Emperor was furious, and rumors even began to circulate about the possibility of deposing the Crown Prince. It was said that the Empress pleaded repeatedly on his behalf, and in the end, the Emperor issued an edict ordering the Crown Prince to remain confined in the Eastern Palace for self-reflection. In fact, everyone was quite satisfied with this farce, except for the Crown Prince. Shen Qingya got her wish and married the Crown Prince, being granted the title of consort. Holy shit. The Crown Prince is desperate and making a reckless move. He actually dares to rebel. His private soldiers are lying in ambush in the narrow alley outside the west gate. There's gunpowder in the side hall. Go clear it out quickly. I hope Yang Qi and Aki are safe. I quickly told Yang Qi and my father the news. 3 days later, Yang Huai indeed rebelled. However, my father and Yang Qi were well prepared and captured Yang Huai's privately deployed soldiers in one fell swoop. The gunpowder had long been secretly moved by me, and the palace doors slammed shut behind him. My voice was icy cold. "Crown Prince, this is the last time I will call you that. It ends here." The Crown Prince's eyes showed emotion. I'm sorry." I picked up the sword and pierced it through his chest. "Late remorse is cheaper than a dog's worth. Don't insult dogs." Awesome. The female supporting character strikes back. "We won. Let's celebrate." Actually, I've always wanted the female supporting character to win. The previous plot was too harsh on the female characters. After this great upheaval, the Emperor, both physically and mentally exhausted, abdicated the throne to the Prince of Yang. On this auspicious day, the coronation ceremony was held. Yang Qi, wearing a 12-beaded crown and a black robe embroidered with golden dragons, ascended the imperial steps one by one, receiving the homage of all the officials. Amid the deafening cries of "Long live the Emperor," he reached out his hand to me. "Be it known that the Shen family, gentle and virtuous by nature, prudent and diligent in conduct, is hereby appointed as Empress, to serve as a model of motherhood for the realm." The ceremony is complete. The young Emperor and Empress join hands. So sweet, I can't bear to part with it. I'm so satisfied with this ending.